This is Counsel Cast, part of the Legal Talk Network, and I'm your host, Karin Conroy. When you face a complex case outside your expertise, you bring in a co-counsel for next-level results. When you want to engage, expand, and elevate your firm, you bring in a marketing co-counsel. In this podcast, I bring in marketing experts who each answer one big question to help your firm achieve more. Here's today's guest.
Hello, my name is Tanya Brody. I am an email marketing consultant and full stack direct response copywriter. And I am here today to talk to you all about how email marketing can actually help you get more clients and keep you having a steady stream of clients coming into your law practice.
Tanya, thank you for being here. This is such a valuable and often overlooked topic. I feel like there's so much like shiny object syndrome around a lot of other stuff. Like we don't even have to go into what all that other stuff is. But I don't know what it is about email marketing. It just feels kind of like the ugly stepsister over in the corner for some reason. But the title for the show, before I forget, is What's Wrong with Your Emails? Common Legal Marketing Blunders Exposed. So you've got a history of writing for lawyers and knowing, first of all, what is wrong with just their approach and the writing in general. Can you talk about just how the approach is typically done wrong when lawyers especially are considering it from their own perspective?
Okay, so there were three things. So for the record, I used to write for a lawyer marketing service, just so we're totally transparent.
Yes. Yeah.
Lawyers like
one of the big ones.
Yeah, one of the big ones.
Yeah.
And the three things that I found were the biggest problem were lawyers thought absolutely everybody under the sun was their audience, which is not true.
Yes.
Because, you know, if you're a personal injury lawyer, the people who are getting divorced are not
They don't
your audience.
Yeah.
You know, and the person who's walking down the street and is fine is not your audience. The person who slipped and fell on that crack, that's your audience.
Right.
You know, so that was a big one, that they came at everything with wanting to share their credentials and say how wonderful they were.
Yes.
And that's not actually what anyone reading a website or listening to them cares about. They want to know that you can solve their problem.
Right.
That is a standard marketing thing, is the question you are answering for every single person you talk to is, what's in it for me?
Yes. Even if you're selling a bag of chips, it's
oh my gosh.
Still the same question.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If I open that bag of chips, what is in there for me?
Right.
As if I call you to ask you to help me with this legal problem, whatever it is, whether it's intellectual property or divorce.
Right.
What are you doing for me? I don't care about you.
I don't care where you went to law school. Yes.
Yeah. So, you know, and the third problem that I always found was that lawyers need to sound sophisticated.
Oh, gosh. It's
so
true.
I cannot tell you how many times I had lawyers say, this doesn't sound professional or sophisticated enough. And I'm like, I understand that, but this is what the people reading your website they're going to understand. I had one lawyer, bless him. He was a criminal lawyer who served primarily gang members, who I wrote out his website copy, figuring he was going to be like every other lawyer.
Yeah.
Wanting to sound professional, wanting to sound sophisticated. And he came back to me and said, I really appreciate what you wrote, but I don't think any of my clients would understand a word of this.
Oh my gosh.
And I was like, That's
it. That's it.
Oh
I mean, that
gosh,
was my next question is what is the problem with sounding so, you know, highfalutin and fancy and whatever? But that's the answer already. I mean, you already answered that. It's your clients don't get it.
Yeah.
So what happens when you use all the legalese and all the fancy lawyer talk and your potential client is a gang member, or even they're just low income, or your potential client has just never done this thing before? What happens then when they come to your site and it's all the fancy talk?
They shut down.
Yeah.
They're like, this makes no sense to me. And they go to the next person who has explained it in plain English.
Right.
Because that's what they're looking for. They're looking, okay, I've got a DUI. I'm going to lose my license, which means I can't get to work. That's what they want to deal with. They don't want to deal with the DUI. They want to deal with the fact that if they lose their license, they won't be able to get to work. They won't be able to take care of their family or pay their bills or whatever it is.
Yes.
Okay. So you're not getting to the root of their problem. You're getting to the root of your problem, which is these are all the things that you're going to have to go through to get them out of the DUI. They don't care.
No, they just want that end result.
Right.
And so it's not like, let me tell you all the forms I'm going to have to fill out and all the work that I'm going to have to do. What they care about is, how am I going to get to work?
Yeah. How am I going to keep my license?
I feel like that's such a major misstep that so much content is making. And we're here today to talk about all the problems, but we're going to focus more on emails. So let's kind of translate or transfer that over to, okay, so we're not talking about you. We're not talking about where you went to law school. We're talking about the client and what their problems are and how you can solve them. But how does that translate into emails and email systems?
So this is something I wish that more lawyers would use.
Yeah.
Because you may get that phone call from someone and they may be shopping around.
Of course they are. If they're smart.
That's normal.
Right.
We all do it.
Yeah.
We all look at, Best Buy and Walmart or whatever for whatever product is going to be best for that refrigerator. Because,
right.
Let's face it, lawyers are expensive.
Yeah.
You guys are a high ticket item.
Well, and you should be. I mean, wouldn't you question someone who is going to be spending this much money that isn't doing the research? I mean, that's a red flag for me.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And I think the next issue is that it's something that lawyers don't think about because they're always for that, let's get the new stuff, let's get the fresh stuff. But you don't think about the fact that there's someone who may have had an issue and then that issue went away, but maybe it came up again.
Yeah.
So if you have someone's email address, you are not paying over and over again to attract their attention. You have it.
Yes.
You have permission to enter their inbox. You can go in there, and until they click that unsubscribe button, you can send them information. You can say, hey, don't forget, I'm over here. You remember that funny little niggling legal problem you had? You remember that your ex who isn't paying child support? You remember that insurance company that isn't playing fair?
Yes.
I'm right here. And it's that friendly reminder of, oh yeah, I have that problem. And when they open that email, then you can say, okay, so here's your situation. Here's how we can solve that problem.
Oh, that's so good.
So I think that's the big difference that email gives lawyers that, just that phone call doesn't.
Right.
Because those people, if they call you once and you say, I can't take your case, or like, well, I think I can help you, but they're like, oh, but you're really expensive. They're not coming back.
No. Yeah. And they're not going to even open your emails either. So let's talk in terms of everybody who listens knows I've been talking about this marketing funnel all year. This is the focus. And the thing about this marketing funnel that I've said a few times is that it can be confusing because it's not just like, hey, at the top of the marketing funnel, you're going to do social media and, period, done, whatever. And then the middle, you're going to do this. And then you're going to do different things sometimes, especially when it comes to email, in multiple places, but in different ways. So for example, the top of the funnel is awareness. Of course, you're going to try to send emails and keep people aware of different things they may be happening in your firm, et cetera, et cetera. The middle, you're going to be having a different kind of conversation where you are working on getting the conversion. And then today, we're going to really focus in on that bottom of the funnel. The bottom of the funnel is purchase and repurchase. Mm-hmm. So that's where you have got someone who is signed up to be a client for you, and you are going to use email in a way that eases them through your process. And then the last element is the repurchase. So how do you nurture that client? How do you get them back? And you kind of touched on that a minute ago. How do you stay in touch in a way that's helpful and providing value? So Tanya, let's kind of hone in on that bottom of the funnel area. How do you approach this, and what tips and suggestions and all of that do you have? Because I really feel like this is an area where it's overlooked often.
So email is actually something that's used throughout your funnel.
Yeah.
I mean, as soon as you get someone's email address, you are guiding them literally down that funnel towards that purchase, which is the whole point. But I think that for the bottom of the funnel, what you're really doing is for lawyers, you're going to be showing them why it is that you are the lawyer for them, and this is the place that you can do some of that credentialing. But again, phrase it in terms of why that matters to them.
Yeah.
And then honestly, when you get that conversion, when you get someone to say, okay, yes, I want you to take my case, once their case is over, guess what? You put all of those people in a special little bucket, or what we like to call segments in emails. And you send them the occasional email that says, hey, got any referrals?
Yes.
Or, hey, got any more legal troubles I can help you with?
Right.
Because lawyers, doctors, and mechanics, everyone needs one. And they're willing to stick with that one, especially if you're in that right field.
Yeah.
You want a good one. You want someone you
Right.
can refer your friends to.
Yeah.
So if you can do well by those clients, they're going to want to refer you. But that occasional reminder of, by the way, if you have anyone you can refer to me,
Yep.
I'd appreciate the referral. It's going to, oh my gosh, yes, George.
Right.
I was just talking to him yesterday and he's having this terrible problem.
Well, I can't tell you the number of times I'm having a conversation with someone and something comes up, and if I had just got an email about that thing or that product or that company I worked with, I'm like, oh, I have an email. Let me just send it to you right away. And,
Exactly.
you're staying top of mind. I can almost hear some of the objections in my clients' minds that I've heard over all the years, especially to certain practice areas where in their minds, it's a one and done. So divorce, criminal, that kind of practice area where it's like, my clients don't come back because hopefully, they've gone through this process and this isn't a thing that recurs. So I know what I say to those clients, but what's your typical response?
So for divorce lawyers, family law is huge. I mean,
Right.
I cannot tell you how many people I know who say, oh my God, X isn't paying child support.
Right.
Or X is hounding me for X, Y, and Z, or X is not being, not playing fair when it comes to, a visitation. And it's just like, at some point, guess what? That's another visit to a lawyer. And as awful as that is for everyone involved, especially the kids, it's like, okay, well, guess what? Sometimes sometimes people have to hold someone's feet to the fire, and it sucks, but you do.
Right.
Criminal law, yeah, you're right. Ideally, that person screws up once and they never go back. But there are a whole bunch of ramifications that go along with that screw up.
Exactly.
So,
and I'm thinking back to the client you were talking about where they're gang members. That there's a network there.
Exactly.
As much as it seems kind of like weird, but typically with those kinds of clients, it's referrals. So you mentioned that a few minutes ago too. So it's not necessarily like they're going to come back, or maybe they will, and you can kind of provide information about like complementary things. But at the end of the day, when I'm having these conversations with my clients, they know the best. So you know what your clients call you for again later, better than we do as the marketing people, what it is that you can help them with again. And maybe they're just going to send you referrals. And in those cases, you're just going to continue to stay top of mind. And so what does that kind of campaign look like?
So in terms of that, it is, this is not something you have to do every single week. I mean, normally I advise, for the higher up in the funnel, you want to be emailing people every single week. You want to be nurturing them along through that funnel so that they get to the point where they actually say, yes, I'm ready.
Yeah.
So going on the theory that you've already done all of that, and we're now at the bottom of the funnel where you are getting them to purchase and repeat, that's a once a month, possibly even once a quarter email, just going, hey, I'm so glad that we resolved your case. And these do not have to be individual emails. They can, if you have a fancy system where you can put in a field that says your child custody case or your DUI or your, slip and fall, awesome. That's personalization. That's a great thing, but you don't have to. It can be as simple as, I'm so glad that we finally resolved your case. Obviously, I do my best for absolutely everyone who comes through my door. If you happen to have anyone in your life right now, if you or a loved one has a problem, please, just let them know about me, because obviously I am here to serve you. And I think that's a really important phrase. I am here to serve. because I think that we all think of the law as that big intimidating thing. You are, as lawyers, are our translators.
Yeah.
Think about yourselves that way. You are not a member. Yes, you are a member of the legal profession and you are very important, but your job is actually not necessarily to go in and fight the legal system or represent the legal system or whatever. Your job is also to translate for those of us who don't speak lawyer.
Yes.
Because we don't, most of us, I mean, I speak lawyer because I had to learn it when I was writing for all of you, but your job is really to serve people.
Right.
So when you come at it from that angle, you're going to get a more sympathetic audience and they're going to want to refer you.
Right.
Because they're like, oh my God, they were so helpful. They helped me understand the whole process.
Right.
I feel so much better about all of this now.
I love in Europe how they use the word advocate a lot.
Yes.
And I feel like that really represents it. You know, you're basically my front man. Mm-hmm. And you are going to just put it in better, clearer language that really shows that you understand the system and how to move through it. But I picture you almost like that security guard walking like a celebrity through whatever they're walking through, and you're pulling me through there. But me and my problem, we are the focus. Right. It's not about you and where you went to law school and you trying to kind of whatever that might be. So let's talk about, I know what I was going to add. The other thing I like to do in those kind of just those top of mind reminder campaigns, especially for lawyers, is kind of reference some articles or thought leadership or just some kind of expertise in that area where it doesn't feel as salesy. It's just, hey, you know, I've been talking about this topic. Here's some information. Here's maybe something that's going on in the news or whatever the case might be, but it doesn't feel as pitchy.
And honestly, that's something I recommend throughout an email nurture sequence is different ways of showing that your expertise.
Yeah.
You know, because that's what people want. They're hiring you for your expertise.
Yeah.
Now, I know that makes you think, well, then I should tell them where I went to law school. I don't care.
No.
I want to know.
And that's not expertise, right? Yeah, that's just experience.
Right.
They both start with EX.
That's a credential. That's not expertise. Yeah. Expertise is when you were interviewed by the local paper about, you know, this particular issue, about your particular field, whatever it is, about this particular case.
Yeah.
That's expertise. That's going to build that know, like, and trust factor.
Yes.
That's, you know, or, you know, an article about your firm helping out, I don't know, your local charity. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sponsoring your local little league team, whatever it is. Show me that you're human as well as lawyer. Show me that you're an interesting person. Show me that you have the knowledge to help me, but that you also have the compassion to help me.
Yeah. Okay, so I want to step back because we've kind of talked about the funnel and these sequences, but I want to talk more specifically about lead magnets and lead magnets for lawyers, because I feel like this is also something that is overlooked and just kind of shoved over to the side and often thought, no, not for me. Like that's for coaches or I don't know, some other industry, but that seems weird or whatever. So let's explain, or would you please explain a lead magnet and what that would look like for a law firm in a way that really works? And typically we're now moving to a different part of the funnel, right? Yes, lead magnets are going to be way up at the top of the funnel.
We're up at the top of the funnel. And so the lead magnet is the way you get someone onto your email list. The lead magnet is that thing you grab someone's attention with. Now, in like a standard marketing system, you're looking at like, you know, a simple guide or a useful list or a checklist. You know, a lot of authors, for instance, use chapters of their books.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah. First couple of chapters of my book. That way you'll want to read the rest. Or, you know, I have entire ebooks that I've written for companies as their lead magnets.
Do they call them ebooks?
Yeah, because if it's not something that you're really, you know, physically publishing, they refer to them as ebooks. Okay. Because that means it's something you can just download. Yeah. And that's the ideal. Is it something that you can download that someone can go, okay, I have this thing and I can look at it and now I'm getting information or I'm getting whatever my need is. Yeah. And the way a friend of mine once described it is, if you think of a really tasty loaf of bread, right, you're going to take the best slice of that loaf
in the middle.
Right in the middle.
Yeah.
And that's your lead magnet.
Yeah.
Because that is like the best representation of your product.
Yeah.
But then people are like, oh, I want more of that bread. Where
Right.
do I get that bread? But the thing is, that bread is still really tasty, and I
Yeah.
still want to get that middle piece. So I'm going to
Right.
buy another loaf.
Yes.
Right. So that's the idea behind, the standard lead magnet. It's a little weirder for lawyers because you are literally selling your expertise. That's what you
Right.
got.
That's where I think most people get confused. It's like, what would that be?
Yeah.
And, why would I do that?
So a lot of what I've seen is a lot of lawyers doing, guides.
Yeah.
So the 5 things not to say when you've been charged with a DUI.
Yes.
Or, the 3 steps to take when your spouse has just told you they want a divorce.
Yeah. Right.
Things like that. That's simple things that people who are remember, you're dealing with people who are sitting on the internet in front of their computer in the middle of the night in their pajamas.
Yep.
Trying to solve a problem because they can't sleep. So you are dealing with people who are in whatever state of distress, and you want to give them that thing that is going to help them right now.
Yeah.
That it's also referred to as a small, quick win. So, if I, as that spouse who just got that I want a divorce message, I'm going, okay, now what the hell do I do? If I can find that guide on here are the 3 steps you need to take, even if it's take a deep breath, make sure your kids have somewhere to go, and make sure you have money in a bank account that only you can access.
Yeah.
That right there is more information than I had 5 minutes ago.
Yes. Yes.
So something that simple is exactly what someone in distress needs. Or, I've just been pulled over for a DUI. What the hell am I going to do?
Right.
Okay, so now how do I deal with this? Well, here are the things you should not be saying, or here are the things you should say.
So oftentimes when we're setting up a lead magnet, we're also planning to do SEO on the website.
Right.
And so one thing, if you're stuck and you're trying to figure out, those are not your practice areas, the stories you were just explaining, and you're stuck thinking, I don't know what the questions are. I don't know what to kind of tie my lead magnet to. There's 2 different kind of avenues you can take. First of all, what people are calling you about. Mm-hmm. So like we were saying earlier, your questions, what they're asking, what's keeping them up at night better than anyone else. But the other avenue is so does Google. So you can either talk to your SEO team and get some ideas there about what people are searching for and what questions are popular and what's trending and what they want to know and all of that, and then kind of use that as a starting point. Or you can go back through your own memories in your own head and say, okay, what are some of the common denominators? What are these questions that people are asking? And how can I put this together in terms of something that they can grab at 2 a.m, like you were describing? They're sitting there in that point of sort of desperation. So then let's assume we're going down one of those pathways. We've kind of got a person who is in that point. You've got a checklist like that, or a download or a guide or whatever that thing might be. What else does that lead magnet look like? Because once again, I still feel like I don't see a lot of firms still doing lead magnets. I think I see phone numbers like crazy. So actually, before explaining what else that looks like, let's talk about why a lead magnet is different than just slapping your phone number up there, and different and better.
So the difference is someone gets something right away. I mean, if I call that phone number, I'm going to get an answering service. We all know this. You're not going to pick up the phone.
No.
You're busy, or you're sleeping. Especially at 2 o'clock in the morning.
Right.
So I actually have a thing right there. And I can go, okay, I'm getting something useful from this person. Again, you're building that know, like, and trust factor.
Right.
Okay, this makes sense to me. You've just given me something. And there is a natural inclination, which we're all sort of trained into, that if someone gives you something, you want to give something back. Well, that means your business.
Yep.
Right. Okay. And I can see that these things work. Okay. I've taken that deep breath. Okay. I've called my mother, and she will take the kids if she has to, whatever it is, or, and you've given someone that peace of mind. So they're going to take that next step, even if that next step is just that phone call.
Right.
And the nice thing is, again, you now have that person's email address.
Yes.
And that means that they have literally welcomed you into your inbox. I social media, everyone's like all about social media or click ads or what have you. The difference is like trying to talk to someone in the middle of a crowded dance floor when the music is out, it's pumping. It's like, oh my God, what did you say?
Yeah.
Because there's all this noise and all of these other distractions.
Yeah.
And someone opening their front door and inviting you into their living room to have a
Yeah.
cup of tea.
Oh, it's so true. It's so true.
You have their undivided attention.
Yeah.
And especially when you offer them that thing that has just helped them, they're going to open that next email.
Okay, so let's walk through what a lead magnet sequence might look like. Let's just say it's the divorce one.
Right.
And it's 2 a.m. They've downloaded and obviously this is just hypothetical. It's going to be different. I should say this. It will be different for every practice area. And it should be, because your clients all have different needs. And if you're emailing them 14 times in a week, some clients like me, depending on what I can't stand the email overwhelm. I know I was talking to someone recently and they were saying that they had signed up for someone's, kind of promotional email and they were getting 12 emails a day. And it's like, you look so desperate and so that's such a bad strategy. So all that being said, we assume that the campaign will look slightly different for every kind of practice area and campaign and everything you're trying to say. But let's say you've sent that download at 2 a.m. and then what do you do after that?
So I personally recommend a welcome sequence.
Yeah.
Sort of a getting to know you thing.
Yeah.
So first of all, first email should deliver that lead magnet.
Right.
Do not give it to them on the thank you page because you want them to open that email. 1, it trains them to open your emails.
Yeah.
2, it trains their ISP, so Gmail, Yahoo, whatever, that these people want to receive emails from you, which is very important. So there's a tech side and a human side.
Yeah.
But next, actually introduce yourself. This is where you can say, I went to this law school. I worked at these firms.
Yeah.
That's okay. But also tell them a little about you. I support this little league team.
Yes.
I've got a dog and 3 cats and 5 kids, or, I like skiing. Whatever that may be, tell them about you and really tell them why practicing law is important to you and why serving them is important to you. That's the second email. Third email can literally be that article that we talked about earlier.
Yeah.
That, or that thought piece that you wrote and submitted to whatever. Just send them to that.
Yeah.
And then that fourth email can be, if you haven't already called, here's the phone number, 30-minute consultation, let's talk.
Right.
It does not need to be complicated. Important details at the beginning, that first email, make sure you say, I will be emailing you over the next few days, once a day. Just make that clear. We're all about transparency here. Be transparent.
Yeah.
And then after that, tell them how often you will email them.
Yeah.
If you're going to email them every single day, say that.
Right.
So they know that they're going to be getting emails from you every single day. If you email once a week, once a month, whatever, just be honest.
Set it up for...
Yeah. Set expectations. It's not hard.
Yeah. It's not hard, but like I said, I don't see many firms doing this very well, especially this type of campaign. They all have a newsletter and they all want to put their blog posts out, but the actual campaigns and the interactions and the nurturing of their clients, whether it's at the top, middle, or wherever it is in that funnel, it's really something that I don't know why, but oftentimes I have to really work through like why you want to do this. Like you're running a business. We want to, get more business. Like this is the idea here, people.
Yeah. This shouldn't be complicated.
No, it shouldn't. Why do you think there's so much hesitation around those types of email campaigns as opposed to just like a very sort of superficial newsletter?
So it's because it takes effort to write.
Yeah.
I'm just going to be blunt.
It's true.
It takes effort to write those. It takes someone sitting down to do it. And if you are the chief cook, bottle washer, and person who attends court, you don't have a lot of time.
Well, you shouldn't.
Honest.
And let's just be blunt as well. Like, you shouldn't be doing this yourself. You
No.
need to have someone who knows how to draft this in a way that's compelling, who understands kind of how to move people through these decisions. And that's not necessarily something that you learned in law school.
No.
So, I mean, obviously you and I are talking about this because this is what we do.
Right.
And so we understand it at a different level.
It. And this is actually a conversation I used to have regularly with my lawyers. Well, I know how to write.
Right. Yeah.
Yes, you do.
You know how to write in a certain way.
You know how to write legalese really well.
Yeah.
Do you know how to write persuasively?
Yeah.
That's different.
Right.
It's a different system. And I think that's something that lawyers just don't think about because of course you write. This is what you do all day. It's your job. Right. I get that. But it's a different form of writing. It's a different way of expressing yourself.
Yeah.
And if you can do both, good, fantastic, lovely. But we also know that you need to be the one practicing law. So get someone else in your staff to do it.
So, I used to have this kind of micromanager boss years and years ago, and he used to like endlessly quote this idea of highest and best use of your time, highest and best use. So really, what is the highest and best use of your time? Is it drafting emails? Probably not. It is being a lawyer and being the best lawyer that you can. And listen, I don't cut my own hair. I don't change my oil on my car. That is not the highest and best use of my time. So I am going to find the person that's going to get that done quick and who's done it, 14 other times today. And they're going to do it quick and better than I would do it by myself. So, I mean, it's the same reason that you're telling people not to do their own legal work. So,
exactly. Yeah. You don't want people to go to, stand up in front of a court on their own behalf. We all know that
with LegalZoom,
the person who represents themselves as a fool for a lawyer, we've heard this quote a billion times.
Exactly.
So
they've just gone to ChatGPT and did it.
And who knows whether that will actually be accurate information as well.
Exactly.
So, but the point being that if you're going to do it well.
Right.
So get someone who knows how to do this for you. Can you be the person saying, I want you to cover these topics? Absolutely. Yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely. Can you be the one giving the information? Because
of course,
yes, I used to write for lawyers. I admit it, but that doesn't mean I have the depth of law that you do.
No, and we don't know the ins and outs of your firm either.
Right.
So, this is like the third time I've mentioned it. You know what people are calling about and what their problems are better than we do.
Right.
So it has to be a mutual kind of effort.
I do want to add one more thing in there.
Yes, please.
And this is really important because this was the other big problem I found writing for lawyers is you're all practicing the same law.
Yeah.
The law is law. You can't change that. Don't talk about the law. Talk about how you can help people and how you do it. Because the way you practice law is going to be different from the lawyer down the street.
Yep.
If you are that aggressive, go get them lawyer, show them that. If you are that compassionate, touchy-feely lawyer, show them that because everyone's looking for something different.
Right. And so how do you differentiate yourself if you're just saying I do divorce law? Well, so does, 50 other people that I just pulled up on Google.
Right.
So that doesn't work.
Show me why you matter. What's in it for me? All back to that.
Okay, so before we get to the book review, I just want to spend a quick minute talking about compliance. And this is sort of boring, but I feel like this sort of works with the lawyer brain and all of that. So how many times have you had a client say, hey, can't I just export my entire Outlook list and send it to you? Because I couldn't even count how many times I've had people say that.
You can. Don't know what I'll do with it.
Exactly.
So in an ideal world, what you are doing is you are getting people to opt in of their own accord. And if you want to go look at all of the legalese at the FTC behind this, you can do that.
Right.
If you want to go look up,
lawyers might.
if you want to go look up the Can Spam Act, it's real.
Yeah, it is.
Thank you, government, for having a sense of humor. It's there, but you have to, this is actually referred to as inbound marketing.
Yeah.
So you are letting people come to you as opposed to outbound marketing, which is all of those, pay-per-click ads and social media ads. That's getting your name out there. That's, all of the stuff that goes on.
That's an important distinction because I think a lot of people don't see it that way. Mm-hmm. They see that I'm sending out an email. So this feels like outbound marketing.
You're doing it because you have that person's permission.
Yes.
So the answer is, and this is a legal gray area.
Yeah.
I as your email marketer, could take that list and send out one email.
Right.
Saying, hey, we're starting this wonderful email list. We have your contact information. If you are interested in joining, click here.
Oh, and require the opt-in.
And require the opt-in. And people who are interested will then click there.
Yep.
Or you say, if you know of someone who needs my help, forward this to them.
Yeah.
Let them click. So yes, that you can do. But what you cannot do is just start spamming people with all of these emails, because they'll be like, what the heck? And that gives you two issues. Number one, if they never worked with you, they'll go, who the hell is this? And why are they in my inbox? What are you doing?
Right.
And of course, they'll click delete or unsubscribe. But more importantly, they may click spam.
Yes.
And that is terrible for your sender reputation.
Yeah.
And that can, and I've seen this happen, will result in you not being able to send emails to your own mother from your domain. I'm completely serious.
Let's just recap that real quick, because I feel like people might have, maybe they're driving and they got distracted for a minute. And I want to underline this. It's not just going to stop you from sending them more newsletters. It's going to impact your ability to email, period.
Everyone.
Yeah. So it will negatively blacklist your domain. It could impact your website. It could impact all of your emails to anyone not related to this newsletter.
Yeah, you won't be able to send stuff to the courts. You won't be able to send stuff to your family. You won't be able to, your email will just stop going out. Because basically what happens is all of the ISPs see this information. If they find your domain on a blacklist, they're like, oh, not sending that through.
Right.
So you may say, well, didn't you get my email? And someone will go, no.
Yeah.
And
that's
if they check, they'll go, it was in
my spam folder. Yes. Yeah.
And that's a terrible place for your emails to be. So don't do it.
Just we have cleaned up those kinds of messes.
I'm so
countless times.
So sorry.
I can't even tell you, to the point where I now have a colleague who does that exclusively. And so we refer it out because it is such a pain. And the people who do that kind of work are a unique kind of individual who thrive on this fine detailed work of getting to servers and cleaning up. It is so tedious and horrible.
And it should cost you a lot of money because
it does cost a lot of money.
Pain in the butt.
It is. It takes days, and it's obviously urgent because it's not something that we're gonna just sometime this month. We need our emails to go out like now. So those cleanup messes are so messy, expensive, and it's just not worth it. So make sure. This is why I wanted to spend a minute on this whole idea of compliance, because I see this all the time to this day. And people are like, whatever. I'm just sending some emails. If you don't have a permission and people start clicking on that spam button, it's a huge problem.
Yeah. Now, I do want to be specific. This is for marketing emails.
Right.
So if you're just emailing your clients, you're just emailing your clients.
Yeah.
But that will, if you get blacklisted, that will affect your ability to email your clients. That's really important to know. So if you're just sending that one email, but to a client about their case, that's one thing.
Yes, of course.
But if you are sending out a broadcast email, you do have to be in compliance.
Yeah, you have to have their permission.
There are reasons for this.
Right.
And it's because, and I think this is another reason that email gets a bad rap, is because once email was out there, people started abusing it, and it got this reputation of being where spammers live, and spammers are still there.
Yes. And it is still a problem, and it always will be. And, it's
every time, the organizations try and figure out some way to fix it, the spammers find a way around it. That's their job.
It's whack-a-mole. Yeah,
it is. It's totally whack-a-mole. But the point being, you should do your part to not be part of the problem, be part of the solution.
Yeah, exactly.
So, but you want to make sure that you're representing yourself, because if you're a lawyer and you're breaking the law, that looks really bad.
That's a good point. That's so bad. Just generally sort of a bad look. Okay, it is time for the Thought Leaders Library.
Okay.
Remember, our website has a curated collection of all the top books from our guests. So, Tanya, what's the one book you believe every lawyer should have on their bookshelf?
So I actually picked up this book years ago, which I kind of love. It's called The Invisible Selling Machine.
That's a great title.
It is by Ryan Deiss of Digital Marketer. And I am a marketer first. Yeah. That is my thing. Yes. So this is basically a way of setting up an automated evergreen email campaign. That is just going to send out emails for you to do that job of selling for you. And the tagline is 5 steps to crafting an automated evergreen email campaign that literally makes sales while you sleep.
I love it. I think people think this is an easy idea. I don't know why they would think that, because it's not.
It takes work. But the point is, once you get this set up, you can automate a lot of this. Yes. You can make a lot of this just go out on its own, and you don't have to think about it. But you do need to put in the work to set it up.
Right.
And this book will show you how. And it's actually a really good book. I really liked it. I read the whole thing. I set up my own system. Yeah. And it also, by the way, talks about lead magnets.
Lead magnets. Oh, that's so good. I feel like we just kind of dipped our toe in that. Obviously, we don't want to sit here for like hours and hours, but it is really an opportunity where I think a lot of firms are missing out. The lead magnet at the top of the funnel, as well as those nurture campaigns at the bottom of the funnel. Mm-hmm. And essentially, we're talking about a similar concept. The system of that would be similar. The message obviously is going to be different, and the approach and the follow-up and the frequency. I think once you're nurturing, like a daily nurture campaign would be ridiculous. Most people are going to be like, stop.
You don't need a daily nurture campaign, but weekly or bi-weekly or monthly, depending on where people are. If they're in that referral stage, monthly to quarterly. If they're in that hot stage of, yes, this can actually be a real thing, weekly is not unreasonable.
Right.
You know, and if you need to go daily to get them to make that decision, maybe you do. But you know what? There are patterns to this. And this book talks a lot about all of that.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, this is a very generalized thing. And primarily, it's for people who are selling information products or are selling products. Yeah. But this can absolutely be adapted to a law firm.
Yeah. And I mean, it's still a business.
Yeah, it's still a business. You guys are still offering services.
Yes.
So
absolutely.
It's really important to just think about, okay, so I'm not going to be able to follow these steps exactly, but this is how it will work for what I do.
Exactly.
This is a very adaptable system, which is part of the reason I really like it.
That's so good to have too, because I feel like there's a certain amount of overwhelm that people feel when it comes to setting up some of these systems. Mm-hmm. And so having it a systematic, automated thing like that, even if you have to go in and adjust it from time to time, makes it seem easier and kind of so you can overcome that hurdle. Yeah. So Tanya, what is one big takeaway that you'd like people to get from this overall episode?
Set up an email list. Just do it. I know that it may feel weird and like yet another thing on your list, but I'm just going to be honest. Email has an ROI of like up to 4,400%.
Yeah.
It's kind of absurd. Like that literally means for every dollar you put in, you get up to $44 back.
That was what I was going to add is like, there's just piles of money there that you are missing out on.
Exactly.
And if that is not a reason enough to do it, I don't know what you're doing.
And the thing to remember is if you think about it, it's like, if you're probably for lawyers, it's like 1 out of every 10. Yeah. But it could also be 1 out of every 100.
Sure.
People say yes. So you still got that other 9 or 99 people who said they were interested at some point. And you may not get all 99, but you might get 6.
Right.
You might, and that's still money coming in.
That's still money. Right. And sometimes it's just a waiting game. I know for myself, the decision process can sometimes be quite long. I've had people who've been following me, getting my emails for years.
Yes.
And for whatever reason, they either are in a firm and they're thinking about like leaving, and it's something that takes them years to get to that point or whatever. I had a lot of people who suddenly were at that point during COVID. All of a sudden it was like, this is my moment.
Yeah, I bet.
But they will oftentimes be following you for ages and ages. And that is the decision details on their end that really have nothing to do with you. Mm-hmm. And so your job is just to continue to stay there and just remind and be there when they're ready.
And The other big problem that everyone has with emails is you got to write them.
You're right.
So,
yeah.
Speaking of lead magnets,
Yeah, right.
my lead magnet is actually a list of 30 subject lines and writing prompts that you can use to
Oh.
keep people opening and reading those emails.
Nice.
Because that's the hill that I will die on is those nurture emails.
Yeah.
That you keep sending those emails regularly because you want to remind people of your existence. And eventually they may say, I don't need this anymore, and they may unsubscribe. But as you just pointed out, Karin, people stay on our lists forever. I've had people on my lists for years.
Same.
And they'll buy like a product at first, and then they won't buy anything for years, but they'll come back like years later and go, oh my God, this is exactly what I've
had people come back, and I have to go back through emails and be like, who is this person?
Yeah.
And they're like, I worked with you years ago. I'm like, you did?
Did?
Who are you?
Yeah. Or I have those people who like every once in a while they respond to my emails going, I really like this one. This is fantastic.
I'm like, who? Yeah, what? Okay, thanks.
Yeah. So they're humans. They're out
Yeah.
there. And I think that's something else to remember is that we all think of this as B2B or B2C, business to business to consumer. It's really P2P.
Yes.
It's person to person.
Yeah.
There's another human being on the other end of that email.
Yep.
Or that phone call or that website. Always remember that you're dealing with another human.
Yeah. It's not just their credit card.
Yeah. It's you're not representing their money. You're representing them.
Yes. Oh,
So.
I feel like that is such a perfect place to kind of finalize it. I think the big takeaways are start an email list if you don't already. Like, come on, you should have already, but let's come back to it, take a look at it and get it really going. And then remember that it's humans. And those two things are going to make you pretty successful, I think. And those are,
absolutely, when
it comes back to the overall title, what's wrong with your emails? It's pretty much that. Like, you either don't have one or you're pretending they're not human.
Right.
Those are probably the two biggest things.
That's a lot wrong right there.
It's a lot.
And it's easy to fix.
Yes.
Easy to fix.
And cheap. I mean, when you look at all the marketing options, we didn't even talk about that. There's so much we could talk about in terms of the cost and the return and everything. But yeah, let's get it done. And also, let's get someone like me and Tanya to do this for you so that it will be done correctly and appropriately and make, good results. So Tanya Brody is an email marketing consultant. Thank you so much. This was an awesome conversation.
Thank you, Karin. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Counsel Cast podcast. Be sure to visit our website at counsel-cast.com for the resources mentioned on the episode and to give us your feedback. If you enjoyed this episode, I would appreciate if you could rate and review the podcast on Apple and subscribe to your favorite podcast platform. See you on the next one.